This is Bob Vosmeyer. Here in Minnesota, we are about to begin another must-win game. On behalf of all of the Pittsburgh Spirit, I want to wish you a happy Easter, and we hope you enjoy this game.
Spirit Soccer is brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light, fire brewed for smoother taste. By Burger King, where you get those juicy flame-broiled burgers that are never fried. Aren't you hungry for Burger King now? By Mellon Bank, a neighbor you can count on. Member FDIC. By Thrift Drug, the R Experts, where you get R extra service. And by Cameron Coca-Cola. Coke is it.
Live from the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota, it's the Pittsburgh Spirit against the Minnesota Strikers. A very happy Easter, everyone, and welcome to Bloomington, Minnesota. I'm John Sanders, along with John Paul Della Camera. We left you last week in Kansas City with almost no hope for the playoffs, but things have changed a little bit in the past week.
Well, after 2 wins this week by the Pittsburgh Spirit, a big win over Las Vegas, and then yesterday's win over Baltimore, that gives the Spirit some hope. They're 2.5 games behind Kansas City. Pittsburgh has 3 to play. Kansas City has 4. 3 of which are on the road.
Let's take a look at the standings because Minnesota very much involved. If Minnesota wins this game over Kansas City this afternoon, that's it. The Strikers are in as far as Pittsburgh is concerned. But our real concern, I think, has to be Kansas City. As you say, 2.5 games behind. A win here really puts a lot of pressure on Kansas City as they go on the road.
It does, John, because then that would drop their lead over Pittsburgh by 2 games, and then they play in Los Angeles on Monday. And as I said, 3 games out of 4 on the road. So there is a situation whereby if Kansas City maybe wins only a couple of those games, and Pittsburgh would have a chance by winning all of their games. But the key for Pittsburgh is winning. They've not won 3 in a row yet this year. They've won 2 straight 4 times. They're hoping that this might be the magic number today.
And, of course, they're trying to sweep the season series from Minnesota. They're 3-0. This is one of the buildings the Spirit have won on the road. They've only won 3 times this year. Looking for number 4 this afternoon. We have it for you coming up live on this Easter Sunday afternoon. The Strikers and the Spirit from Bloomington, Minnesota. We'll be back. You're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer. Welcome back to Bloomington, Minnesota. This is the Met Center. Joe Papaleo will be in goal for the Pittsburgh Spirit this afternoon. And at the other end of the arena, Tino Lettieri with his customary bird, Ozzy, already attached in the back of the net, and that's where the Spirit hope to put the ball this afternoon. It's another must-win situation for Pittsburgh. We're underway. Here's John Paul.
Thank you, John Sanders. Happy Easter, everyone. As Zeke Kapka plays it on the right side to Adam Topolsky. He is a person chosen in the Giant Eagle goal-getter contest. His shot is stopped by Tino Lettieri. We are playing for Rob Elliott today, and it's worth $100 in groceries from the new Giant Eagle. Adam almost scored that one. That would have been anticlimactic. Played over by Goosens. He's their top scorer to Dwight Lodovegas. Lodovegas near midfield, long ball, an outdoor ball basically with that pass. John O'Hara will be there. He's played so well for the Pittsburgh Spirit over the last stretch. Now it's Fogarty shooting it wide. O'Hara took it right away from Alan Willie. Up the left side for Terlecki. On the right wing, Sibbies is breaking free. Stan leads him with the ball. Broken up. Nice play. Coming back by midfielder Ray Hudson.
Good effort by Hudson, who is also basically an outdoor type player. This is a big team, very big physically, and basically an outdoor team playing indoors for the first time in quite a while. And they've had to make some adjustments. Obviously, they've made them because they are in a position to lock up a playoff spot with a win this afternoon.
And this is the only team that they have not beaten this year, and everyone in Pittsburgh is hoping that continues. On the right side, John Bain will bring it to the middle. Off the boards for Alan Willie. He and Kapka battle. Ball is loose. Terlecki wins it. Torres Kabrichian calls a foul on Minnesota. Torres Kabrichian is the senior referee. Dave Missel is the other referee out on the field, and Chris Georgopoulos is in the box. Kapka will move it up the field. Pittsburgh won yesterday big over Baltimore, 6-3. Greg Ostalchik, 2 goals and 1 assist, was the offensive player of the game. Peter Monvlik was named the game's defensive player. It's back to Papaleo. who comes into the game 5.20 goals against average. He has not won on the road this year. This would be a major win if Pittsburgh can get it for Joe this afternoon. It's broken up by Ben Collins. Into the attack zone. There is no score. Stalchik taken down. Got to call that foul.
And that's 2 fouls. Remember, 6 fouls, and it's a 2-minute bench penalty. Let's go back and take another look at it. As Usain, trying to get the ball back, was not able to do it. Grego Stalchik went down as a result. So Usain gets the foul call on him.
Stalchik sending it back now to Bob Bosmeyer. Over to John O'Hara. He is marked by Ben Collins. John O'Hara, the team captain, plays it back to Dave McKenzie. Mack with a long ball for Bosmeyer, chipping it over Lettieri, but it goes into the crowd, out of play. There's no score from Minnesota. You're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer. Here's a look at the Minnesota Strikers bench. It is scoreless, 12:52 to go, and this the opening quarter. On Easter Sunday in a must-win game for the Pittsburgh Spirit, Bruce Miller playing on defense with Greg Thompson from Minnesota, pressured by Mark Liberich. Mark has a tender left ankle. He's one of about 5 or 6 Spirit players that are hurting. Kevin Marr with a bruised calf, not in the lineup this afternoon. George Tiger dressing for him. Thompson, you see, and heading it forward, and a nice recovery run back by Bob Bosmeyer.
You got a quick look at their coach, Alan Merrick, who actually was part of the Pittsburgh organization at one time and played 1 game in a Spirit uniform before he was injured.
Drago Dembovic, there he is with a full head of hair, and yes, it is real. Looks different. This is a very fast line. You're talking Dembovic with Ben Collins and Thompson Usain. That'll be the fastest line you'll see out there this afternoon for either side. Stalchik plays it back to Earhart Cap. Earhart's first shift of the afternoon. We're just basically underway, 3 minutes into the game. 12 minutes remaining. First quarter, no score.
John Paul, a feeling out period pretty much.
Stalchik shooting it short side, but it's stopped by Lettieri, and in traffic, Minnesota makes a careless pass, but they get away with it back to Lettieri, a very colorful goalkeeper. Long toss the other way, almost over 3 lines. I want to tell you something about Lettieri in a moment as McKenzie brings it up the field. Plays it on the left wing for Terlecki. Kapka breaks for the box. The ball played in, but it went between a set of legs of McGrain and wide. Lettieri, John Sanders, had to miss a game. He sat out a 1-game suspension. He had 20 minutes in penalties, highly unusual for a goalkeeper. That's a lot of arguing, I'm sure. On the right side, McGrain. Long one to the left wing boards for Goosens. Topolsky has the goose. Played back, Hudson open, and he shot it into the crowd. Pittsburgh says thank you to that. There's no score from Minnesota. You're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer. And as we're back, we remind you this broadcast is intended for the private use of our viewing audience. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Civic Arena Corporation and the Pittsburgh Spirit is prohibited.
And we want to remind you also the number is 333-9315. Keep calling on this Easter Sunday to help Easter Seals help others in the Pittsburgh area. We need your help. 333-9315.
Let's make this a good Easter Sunday all around. Pittsburgh would love to win this one and stay alive in the race for the last playoff spot. Etherington has other ideas, charging up the left wing. Plays it in front for Goosens, and Papaleo makes the block on it. Topolsky coming back on the counter. 2-on-1 and now 3-on-1. Minnesota hustles back. Terlecki tried to play at the semis, broken up by John McGrain.
Maybe waited just a hair too long that time, John Paul. He had 2 options. He could go to Sibbies or he could go to Topolsky, who was chasing on the right side. Stan wanted to delay as long as he could, and I think he waited just a hair too long.
Etherington will bring it up on the left side for Goosens. Marked by John O'Hara. Goosens, you don't want to give too much room to. 47 goals.
You know, I talk about this being basically an outdoor team, but with Drago Dembovic, and they've got Goosens, they've got Etherington. They have plenty of MISL experience on this team as well.
Here's Stan going off to the races. Into the attack zone, takes the shot, save Lettieri, and another shot goes up into the crowd. But give Lettieri credit, that was a big save he made on a point-blank shot from Stan Terlecki. He's grimacing a little bit, John. He's got a bad right foot, but he shot it that way anyway.
Stan could not quite pick up his own rebound. He got to the ball, but couldn't settle in time to get it low enough to get it past Lettieri. And Lettieri will put the ball in play now with a goal kick. A very slow start to this game, I would say.
I think that players are feeling each other out. Minnesota, a little bit leery of Pittsburgh because it is the only team that they have not beaten this year. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, knows how bad the plane ride is going to be home. If they don't win this game, it's going to make things very easy for the Kansas City Comets. If anything, they've got to put pressure on the Comets, make Kansas City win their games. We had said before on our pregame thing, and I may have confused you, basically if Pittsburgh wins all of their games, Kansas City must go 1-3 for Pittsburgh to win it. If Kansas City wins 2, then it would be Kansas City's spot.
Exactly right, and I mentioned the importance of this game for Minnesota, a chance for them to lock up a playoff spot and maybe advance a little bit in a position where they can get the home field advantage when you get into the playoffs. But for Pittsburgh, it is definitely a must game, and if you do win, you put a little pressure on Kansas City. Keep in mind that Kansas City and Minnesota finished the season against each other, so one of the two teams that we're looking at as far as chasing in the playoffs is going to get a victory there. So there is no real ifs, ands, or buts. You have to win.
Ball played by Cap after the 3-line changeover for Minnesota. Fogarty with it. 72 block shots to lead the club. Plays it back to Tino Lettieri, the most colorful goalkeeper in the MISL. He's taken over for Slobo Ilievsky in that department. Up for Drago Dimovic. Broken up by McKenzie, but he fouled him. Drago, by the way, talked to me before the game, and he asked if I would say Happy Easter to as many fans in Pittsburgh, so we will do that. And there's a look at him. Marked by Dave McKenzie. Ball played into Drago. Back heel, but nobody was expecting it. Stalchik is there. Now it is Dave McKenzie picking it up.
Chris Drago started the season at Wichita, right, and was traded to Minnesota.
Wasn't very happy in Wichita. He's done all right here, averaging pretty close to a point per game since coming over, and he doesn't get as much carpet time as he might like. Collins coming back with Usean and Drago. This is Thompson-Usean. Lifting into the box, but Vosmeyer's there. Minnesota basically bungled that.
Yeah, Usean basically bungled that when he overran the ball. I think he was looking at the setup so much that he forgot about the ball, and as a result, he overran it, thankfully.
That's where too much speed may have helped. Stalchik. Whoa, what is that?
I talk about the size. That's Fogarty. He's one of the small ones at 5'8", 170, but he plays like a defensive back.
That's a brutal foul, no matter how you call it. Topolsky will put it back in play. I didn't get a chance to look, see if Fogarty argued that one. That would have been hysterical. Sibby's with it at the red line. To Topolsky. It's still scoreless. 8:25 to go. First quarter on an Easter Sunday from Minnesota. Earhart Cap playing for Sibby's. He's bumped by Lota Vegas. Not only is Minnesota a big team, but they are physical as well. They'll like to throw their weight around. This is Usean. He's got Fogarty all alone on the right. He'll take the shot. Cap blocks it right back to Papaleo. Whistles all over the place. Cap is down. They're going to call that foul anyway on Thompson-Usean.
Here comes the run by Thompson-Usean. There's the block, and there's the foul. He hit Cap from behind. Earhart went down.
Cap will play it over to Adam Topolsky. That's 4 fouls on Minnesota, 1 for Pittsburgh. Ball played into Stan Trelecki on the right side. Stan double team, can't get out of there. Knocks it loose for the moment. A quick shot wide by Kapka Sibby's to Z with a header. He wanted Stan Trelecki, but it never got there. There's a dangerous play called on the Pittsburgh Spirit. So some good ideas, but it doesn't work.
The call of dangerous play went against Ian Sibby's, who was trying to bicycle kick it and reverse the ball, wasn't able to do it, and got the call in the box area.
Well, we can, on behalf of John Sanders and myself and John O'Hara, Earhart Cap especially, he asked me to do this yesterday. Special hello to our poster child, Jamie, back home in Pittsburgh. Terlecki will shoot it. Lettieri makes another save. Kapka will come out. There's another one.
That'll be 5. Spirit with some good room that time. Defensively, the strikers letting them play. Here's the shot by Terlecki. O'Hara coming in for the rebound, but the strikers were able to control right in front of Lettieri.
Pittsburgh with a great opportunity. 7.5 minutes left to try and get another foul on Minnesota. No score. Z plays it to Stan Terlecki. Cuts it to his right side. Marked by Ben Collins. To the far boards, Kapka cuts it back to John O'Hara at the red line. John for Stan Terlecki, tackled away. Minnesota trying to bring it out. Willie up the middle. Has Thompson right, Goossens left. Quick shot blocked by Papaleo. And now it is O'Hara knocking it free. It's loose in the box. Bruce Miller to Ray Hudson. Hudson in the corner. Still with it.
And you've got Bain right in front of the goal mouth. Somebody's going to have to push him out of there.
Bruce Miller still with it. Minnesota, nice job of controlling that ball, and now Papaleo comes up with it. Long toss up the field. Sibby's wants to give it to Terlecki, but coming right back to help out was Goossens. So he worked both ends of the field there.
That's one of the things that makes Jan Goossens such a good player. He is able to cover both ends of the carpet.
Now it is Thompson to Thompson-Usean. Greg Thompson, young defender for Minnesota. John O'Hara will get it back. Strikers in the Spirit. No score from Bloomington, Minnesota. Hope you're going to enjoy this one this afternoon. A long ball for Sibby's. Lettieri can't use his hands
how far
there.
He is. Comes way out, clear to his own red line with a Spirit player behind him.
Sometimes he gets caught. Usually you get caught more often than not if you do that. Drago Dembovic with John O'Hara. Plays it back, Hudson. Good move to send it into the corner. Blocked by O'Hara. Johnny reads the game about as well as any defender in this league. Here's Yusian. Papaleo made the save. Give Terlecki credit. He fouled him. He held him, but there was not a foul called, so he got away with it.
Yusian looking for the call, didn't get it. And the game is now beginning to open up just a little bit.
It is. Drago Dembovic. Free for the moment. Left-footed shot wide. Yusian is free. The shot hit the goalpost. Cleared back by Kapka to O'Hara at the goal line, and Johnny cleared it out. Well, Pittsburgh gets a break there as that ball rolls out of play. We take it to a break. There's no score from Bloomington. You're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer.
The striker's almost scoring. Dembovic the shot. Yusian with a rebound. Papaleo is out. He just missed the post on the left-hand side. That's how close he came to breaking this scoreless tie.
When you saw it in the replay, Yusian's angle was not as good as it looked like when we were going live, but that looked like Joe had partially cut off a piece of that far post, so Yusian just shot it wide, but Pittsburgh is still very fortunate. Joe Papaleo with the ball. It is a scoreless tie. Pittsburgh has had some chances, though. It's not Minnesota. That was their only real great opportunity there when they were controlling the ball for a while during the last couple of minutes or so. We have 5:18 left in a scoreless opening quarter. I'm John Paul Della Camera with John Sanders. On an Easter Sunday, Earhart Cap trying to break through, but it's kicked back by the strikers to Tino Lettieri. Long throw up the field for Alan Willie. Willie to the far side. McKenzie's going to try to close him down. A shot off the goalpost. Where's the rebound? Vosmeyer looks for it. Willie will get it to Gary Etherington. Quickly to the Goose. Goosens in the right. A shot blocked by Joe Papaleo. Nice save by Joe coming out. He almost got his hands on it outside the box, it looked like. Low to Vegas in the corner. Look at Minnesota moving it around. Willie. Quick shot. Again. John Bain was just off target. That looked like it grazed the post. Goosens. Blocked by Earhart Cap. Pittsburgh in trouble. Have to move it out of their zone. And now Liverich will try to settle it down. Boy, Minnesota with a flurry, John, the last couple of times they've come up the field.
They have really stationed themselves well in the offensive zone and been able to move the ball around, and they've gotten some great shots. It would also appear to me that Papaleo is coming out a little bit early this afternoon. He has been out of position a couple of times, and they've just missed the shots.
Pittsburgh, on the other hand, not following players that have been breaking. Here's a foul being called on Minnesota. So that is going to cost them, and Pittsburgh will have a power play. But what I was going to say before, when Alan Willie made a touch in the box, the runner, Bain, was overlapping him on the left. No one really picked him up, and Pittsburgh has been guilty of that particular trait on the last couple of times going up the field, plus they're ball watching a little bit, and as a result, it's not so much the great passing, I don't think, of Minnesota, so much as Pittsburgh basically letting them get through there.
Well, the Minnesota Strikers have allowed 27 power play goals in 82 attempts. The Spirit have scored 27 in 84 attempts, so we'll see if the Spirit can do it.
Hagen's first shift, and you know he scores on TV, so let's see if he does it. Terlecki, right side to Hagen, back for Stan Terlecki. Child also out there. Stan's shot hit the goal post and will go, looks like, and it does, out of play. A lot of offensive firepower out there. It's a goal kick for Tino Lettieri. Child, Civies, Terlecki, Hagen, and Mark Liverich out there.
What you don't have is defense.
That's right. And it hasn't cost Pittsburgh shorthanded goals, but in every game it seems like the opposition gets at least a chance. Malvik had to block a breakaway yesterday on a similar situation. Or maybe that was the other night I'm thinking about with Las Vegas. Terlecki will come back to Liverich. Left-footed shot. Stop short side, rebound. Child didn't really have a chance because Lettieri pretty much had a hold of it. 3:35 to go. First quarter, no scoring. Greg Thompson has it kicked into the crowd off of Stan Terlecki. So Minnesota will put it in play. They've got a man in the box. Couple of minutes. Goosens is serving it. Again, I'll point out, you always put an offensive player in there because when that penalty is over, you want him to come on, and he may have a chance to score.
Immediately get in the flow of the game and pick up the ball.
On the far side, usually your high scorers are not good penalty killers, so you don't want them out there. Liverich takes a man down. That's Etherington. That's the third Spirit foul. 3:24 to go, first quarter, no score yet. Off the boards, Papaleo will smother that crossing attempt. Joe looks up to see what's going on, rolls it to Stan Terlecki. Pittsburgh's leading scorer this season. Stan with 37 goals, also leads in points. On the right side, Hagen, back to Terlecki, a slow pass, back heel to Liverich, and a corner Child for Civies. He was tripped up, I thought, by Etherington, but there's no call. Fogarty trying to move it out. Intercepted. Dave Hagen standing over it. Chipping it near corner. Mark Liverich on his right foot. Now plays it out with his left to Terlecki. 42 seconds left in the power play. Stan rolls it right. Hagen in the corner, too slow in the pass, and here's what we were talking about. Minnesota will break it down the field 3-on-2. Hagen, good recovery run to win it back for Papaleo, but that's where it can cost you. Got to make sure those passes are crisp. Leverage from Papaleo into the attack zone. Mark cuts it, another bad pass. Intercepted 2-on-1. Pittsburgh's got to come back. Etherington sees what he's got. He's got to break with Miller. Bad pass back to Miller, but he settles it down. And Minnesota blows at least a decent scoring opportunity, but they have the ball, and they're going to kill off a lot of time here, John.
They're going to kill off the rest of the penalty, essentially. That's what they've done. Even though they didn't get the goal, they got the break.
Careless passing, slow passing, and you can't do that on a power play. And then Pittsburgh didn't retreat in a hurry either. Leverage heading it, but it goes into the corner. Goose is with it. Willie is open. Now Child has to defend on him. Remember, there is no defender out there. Pittsburgh has been unable to make a change, and now Hagen sends it back to Papaleo, and they're going to try like crazy to get some defenders out there. Changing up on the fly. They couldn't change because of where the players were all the way on the opposite side of the field. Now it's Adam Topolsky, who Rob Elliott is playing for in our Giant Eagle goal-getter contest. Maybe we'll have a winner in that one here this afternoon, too, in our last televised game of the regular season. Joe Papaleo, this is the furthest he has come out to the red line. For Terlecki, knocks it right side for Adam Topolsky. The lead is for Terlecki. Stops, knocked away by McGrain. 3-on-3 coming back. Goosens into the attack zone, going wide on O'Hara to the right side. Stops. Johnny stays with him. It's played back to Lola Vegas. Quickly to McGrain. Shot stopped by Papaleo, his best save of the day. Terlecki looking for it, but Alan Willie's going to get there first. Alan Willie into the attack zone. Ben Collins wants to turn around. Kapka doesn't let him. Careless pass broken up. Kapka trying to lead for Topolsky. Wants a toe ahead. He's going to break away for Stan Terlecki. Terlecki drawing Lettieri out. Cuts him to the outside. He scores. Stan Terlecki makes it a 1-0 Spirit lead. But Adam Topolsky with a great feed to get him going.
It comes with only 49 seconds left in the first period, so make it 14-11 officially. The pass from Topolsky, and Stan, who had been hanging outside the red line, was all alone. Lettieri here, when he goes down, he has no chance. All Stan has to do is touch it with the left foot, and he scores it. So Stan Terlecki picks up the goal for him, number 38.
We didn't have it all the way back in the replay, but if you could have seen it, Topolsky was in traffic. I saw Stan over the midfield line, and if Adam just touched that ball forward, Pittsburgh had a breakaway. If he could not get to it, then a chance went by the board. So a great effort from Adam Topolsky and Stan Terlecki, one of the better players you'll ever want to find in the open field like that. Makes it count, makes it look easy. Pittsburgh leads 1-0. You see it. Off the boards. Dembowik, one shot, the second one off the post. Ray Hudson scores. Pittsburgh has a letdown with 35 seconds to go in the quarter. It's tied, but Drago makes it happen.
The goal goes to Hudson. It's only his 5th of the season. But let's take a look. They kept the pressure on, which they have done several times. You see it off the boards. It comes in front, settled there by Dembowik, who takes a shot. The rebound comes straight out. There it is by Hudson to score the goal. Give Dembowik the assist.
Hudson's 5th of the year at 14:25 from Drago Dembowik. 14 seconds after the Spirit have scored a goal, Minnesota comes back. McKenzie the other way. Off the boards, Lettieri is way out. Ostalchik got a piece. Now Vossmeyer's in there battling. Hit off the glass, but not out of play. Now it's deflected for Ostalchik. Leverage free at the far post for the moment. Gregg still with it to Vossmeyer. Off his foot. Minnesota collects it. Etherington, 15 seconds to go. First quarter, tied at 1. You don't want to give one up here if you're Pittsburgh. You see in the shot. Nice save by Papaleo. 5 seconds left. Pittsburgh's going to do some talking at the end of this quarter. McKenzie lets the clock go out. And that's it for the opening quarter of play. At the end of 1, Pittsburgh 1, Minnesota 1, and you're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer. Welcome back to the Met Center in Bloomington. I'm John Paul Della Camera. It is a 1-1 tie. Pittsburgh got off on the right foot, if you pardon that expression. Look at Topolsky, 2 men on him, but they're stand by the midfield line. A clear breakaway, one of the most exciting plays in soccer. Deeks Lettieri to the outside, and it's all over for Tino Lettieri once Stan Terlecki had the open space. That was at 14-11. Topolsky assisting on Terlecki, but look out the other way. Usian uses the boards well. Drago Dembowik's going to come in for one shot. It hits the goalpost. And there's Ray Hudson following it up. So nobody picks up the trailing midfielder. That tied it just 14 seconds later. We remind you that in our Giant Eagle goal-getter contest, Rob Elliott was not a winner, but he does receive certificates for Armor Meats and Tropicana Juices. Olga Ritson is playing now with Dave Hagen as her person, and this is worth $200 in our new Giant Eagle goal-getter contest. That's a strategic pick since Hagen usually scores in these televised games, and we're going to see if John Sanders can call one for you as we turn the play-by-play over to him with the Spirit and Minnesota deadlocked at 1 apiece. John?
Don't forget that telephone number, 333-9315 on this Easter Sunday for Easter Seals. The telethon will continue at halftime back in Pittsburgh and also following the game. Ron Klink, Mary Rob Jackson back there. Give them a call. They want to hear from you this afternoon, and we need your help on this Easter Sunday. Well, the Spirit needs some help in the victory department. Game tied at 1. Tying goal 14 seconds after the initial goal. We have changed ends, and once again it's the strikers putting the pressure on. The shot by Alan Willie was wide to the left side. It's picked up by Goosens. O'Hara flips it up into the air. It comes toward the midfield area. Reversed now by Lodovegas. Now Terlecki, who scored the Pittsburgh goal, brings it up. On the left side it goes to Kapka. O'Hara with a drive, misses to the right. Terlecki chases down the rebound. Lodovegas puts some heat on him, pushes him back to the red line. Now it comes all the way back to Topolsky. We're tied at 1 with 14-14 left in the first half. Good pressure now being applied by the Minnesota Strikers. I think, John Paul, the 1-1 score at the end of the first period is pretty good for Pittsburgh because Minnesota had a lot of chances. They simply didn't finish.
They outshot Pittsburgh 8-5, John, but you don't count the ones that hit off the goalpost, and I counted about 3 for Minnesota that did just that.
John Bain brings it back to Greg Thompson. This is Bain again. Far side of Lodovegas. Settles, takes his time. They've set up their offense very well when they've gotten in that offensive zone. Here's Thompson. Strikers controlling. Bain with it. Now he starts in. Willie turns and scores. Alan Willie gives the Strikers a 2-1 lead.
And that's one thing you can't let Alan Willie do, like all great goal scorers, is turn on you. He's going to do that as he gets a feed from John Bain, the leading assist man for the Strikers. Bain will put it in. Topolsky is on him, but Willie spins to the right. Papaleo is coming out, and Alan Willie makes it look easy. For Alan Willie, his 29th goal, John, of the season, but he has only played, and this is 35th game, so he's almost at a goal per game. Such a great goal scorer is Alan Willie.
And Bain picks up his 27th assist. It comes at 1:30 of the second quarter, and the Spirit are down. They were down Thursday back in Pittsburgh, down by a score of 3-1. Came back in the fourth quarter, finally won in overtime. And for the first time this year, the Spirit trying to win 3 games in a row. They've not been able to do it. They have to this afternoon. 2-1, Minnesota leads. Mark Liverich controlling. There's John McGrain on him as he brings it back to McKenzie. Now to Bob Vossmeyer, who opened the game for you this afternoon. And the entire team taking advantage of the opportunity to attend church together on this Easter Sunday. We hope you're enjoying your Easter and enjoying some Spirit soccer with us this afternoon. Yusean with a drive. It's blocked. Settled now quickly by Bruce Miller. Back to Yusean. This is Dumbovic in the corner against Erhard Kapp. Dumbovic controls. Stalchik hits the deck. So does Dumbovic. Back it comes to McGrain to Miller. 2-1. There's Drago with a little bit of room, and a shot he misses to the left side. Rebound follows, no good by Collins. And it goes far side where Stalchik will pick it up.
Minnesota's getting too many chances to score, and I don't just mean in the first shot. Right there were 3 different chances that they could have had. Not 3 shots on goal, but 3 opportunities for them to score. And that's at least 2 too many, John. And Pittsburgh's got to be careful when that ball is bouncing around there. You hate to see somebody in one of those white uniforms wide open, and we've seen that here this afternoon.
You see Bobby Vossmeyer arguing the call, but it goes against him. That is the first foul of the second quarter. We did have a 2-minute bench penalty against Minnesota in the first quarter, but the Spirit unable to do anything with that. They did get the goal by Stan Terlecki. Now goals by Hudson and Willie have given the Minnesota Strikers a 2-1 lead. Yusean controlling the ball. He's big, 6'0", 165. He hits the post on the right side. Boy, Yusean using his strength so well in that box area, John Paul.
He went around 2 Spirit players there, John, and that's something that Joe Papaleo's got to be upset about. He made it look too easy. Pittsburgh's got to make Minnesota work a lot harder for their effort than they're showing, or they're not going to be a tired team. And in the end, both of these teams have played on the weekend, but Pittsburgh should be a little more tired than Minnesota. They played yesterday.
Minnesota played Friday. Bosmeyer turning, shooting, misses to the right. McKenzie tries to follow. Lettieri knocks it away. It's picked up by Ostapchuk. He's got McKenzie. A drive in front, it goes in.
Believe it hit off Ray Hudson.
It did, but the goal will go to Ostapchuk. Greg Ostapchuk picks up the goal.
No one will complain in Pittsburgh because it is now tied at 2, and we'll look at it again. Lettieri's out of position right there. It takes him a little while to get back. Ostapchuk sees it. He's going to try to put it across, and there it is, Ray Hudson. He was looking for Mark Liverich, it looked like, John, but better off Ray Hudson put it in because he was right in front of Tino Lettieri, and there's a chance that Lettieri would have been able to make the save on Liverich because he got a chance to react.
He took the good hard shot, and if you were with us last week in Kansas City, you see what can happen to a defender because it happened to John O'Hara in the game in Kansas City last week where he actually kicked the ball in the net.
Nothing you can do about it. Hudson was in a good spot, but it just went in off of him.
It is an unassisted goal for Greg Ostapchuk. It is 7th of the year, and we're tied at 2. Goal coming at 3:27, so we're kind of scoring them in bunches this afternoon.
Could be one of those days.
That one comes less than 2 minutes after the goal had been scored by Minnesota. 2-2 with 11:05 to play. We're in the first half here in Minnesota at the Met Center in Bloomington. Goosens loses, comes all the way back out to midfield. Gary Etherington now back to Goosens. O'Hara on him. Goosens with a drive, knocked away by O'Hara all the way back to midfield. Lettieri will pick it up at 10:42 left in the first half. The call goes against Minnesota. It's their first foul. Pittsburgh puts it quickly in play and out of play. We're tied at 2. You're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer. Young Strikers fan here watching a tie game, 2-2 in the Met Center in Bloomington. I'm John Sanders with John Paul Della Camera. Delighted to have you with us here on this Easter Sunday. And remember the number for the Easter Seal Society. Give us a call at 333-9315. We want to hear from you before this afternoon is over. Lodovegas will bring it up. Shots on goal. In this quarter alone, 6-1 in favor of the Strikers. They have had the chances. They've had the opportunity. The Spirit capitalizing on their only shot by having it go in. Actually went in off the Minnesota player, but you'll take it any way you can. Here's O'Hara now. Kapka cannot control. Back it comes to Drago Dumbovic. Got some room to run. Leaves it on the right side for Willie. Papaleo is there. Now Terlecki. To Adam Topolsky. Picked up by McGrain. Again, it goes out of play with 9:46 left in the first half. Topolsky on a run will now come off.
I'm not sure if Adam wanted to strike it off the boards for Sibbies or if he was taking that shot itself, but Ian was wide open on the right. Interesting to note, and I forgot to mention this the last time, John, but the ownership of the two teams, great competitors. If you remember, the DeBartolo family for Pittsburgh, they were in the Super Bowl, and the Robbie family owns this Minnesota team, so there's a little bit of a rivalry away from soccer with the ownership of the two teams that are involved here.
And in the back of the net, you got a glimpse of Ozzy, Lettieri's mascot. Ozzy has seen a couple of balls up close. It's 2-2. At midfield. Finally picked up by Lodovegas. Here he comes. White Lodovegas. In front, back heel by Dumbovic. Again, Dumbovic got in and was all alone, John Paul.
Lodovegas had way too much room. No one closed him down, and then Drago got free behind the defense.
Liverich using the boards, looking for Ostapchuk. Picked up by McGrain. Now the Spirit controlling. Mark Liverich. Working with Ostapchuk. Bump from behind, nothing called. Now McKenzie, as the Spirit dressed in black today, will try to set up that offense. Dumbovic takes over. Knocked away from him by Cap. Off the bench to pick it up is Hudson. Back to Dumbovic. Drago still controlling now. Drives. Cap blocked that one. Hudson with a shot in front. You see him trying to turn. Does. It's knocked away. Here's Dumbovic. Papaleo comes out. Drago simply couldn't get turned around to make a shot. He had some room and he had some time again.
If you're John Kowalski on the bench, you might be biting your nails by this stage, because when that ball is that loose and you've got some players like Dembovic there, you got to worry about it going into the back of your net.
Goosens gets it back to Lettieri. He distributes to midfield. And the Strikers control. This is Goosens. 8 minutes exactly left in the first half. A 2-2 game. That's out of play. It is tied at 2. You're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer. Welcome back on this Easter Sunday. Coach John Kowalski along the Spirit bench. Mark Livrich as well. Papaleo now will put it on the ground. 7:50 to play in the first half. The Spirit taking some time off the clock right now. We're tied at 2 here in the Met Center, Bloomington, Minnesota. O'Hara at midfield. He's double teamed, gets it back to Kapka. Knocked away by Goosens. And it goes out of play once again. 7:34 left in the first half. The ebb and flow has been interesting in this game. Most of the good chances have gone to Minnesota.
They have, especially in this quarter here. And really, Pittsburgh has been a little lucky, but you need luck to win in this game, and that's something that Pittsburgh hasn't had a lot of this season. They've had bad luck more than anything else.
Only 3 wins, 20 losses on the road, the worst road record in the MISL. Good record at home, 15-7.
So you can see what a couple of road wins would have done. They wouldn't be in this position.
Right, wouldn't be fighting for our lives. Sibby's in the corner. Lettieri there. Bobbled it, but managed to hang on. He'll get some pressure from Adam Topolsky. Now Adam retreats. Back on defense with O'Hara. Midfielder on this line is Kapka. Terlecki and Sibby's on as well. John Bain. Goosens turns. There's the rebound. It's kicked away by O'Hara. And again, it bounces out of play. 6:51 left in the first half. The Spirit and the Strikers. Ian Sibby's, what a job he's done this year. Sibby's with 33 goals, 22 assists for a total of 55 points. Little man, big scorer.
More important, 1 goal in 13 of his last 17 games. And in those 17 games, he's had 15 goals, 9 assists for 24 points. So he's helped the Spirit.
I think back to the game winner that he got in overtime against Las Vegas. What a thing of beauty that was, with a heading pass from Kevin Marr, and the ball, I don't think it even touched the carpet before Sibby's had it in the net. Again, they've got some room out in front, but there was nobody following on the weak side.
Very loose marking on the part of the Pittsburgh Spirit. It almost cost them.
Goosens again controlling. Drive goes out of play off the foot of Greg Thompson. We're still tied at 2, and you're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer. There is Ozzy. Old Oz is always in the back of Tino Lettieri's net. Joe Papaleo ready to put the ball in play at the other end. And twice in this game, the Spirit have disturbed Ozzy's roost a little bit. We're tied at 2. 6:26 left in the first half. And O'Hara puts it in play to Joe Papaleo. Drago Dembovic is down to mark him. The ball comes to Kapka at midfield. Z is double teamed, loses. Picking it up is Bain. Bain controlling for Minnesota. Now Terlecki intercepts. Play at midfield right now. That's Greg Thompson with it, number 10. Thompson goes to Thompson. You see him. Bain's drive is blocked in front. Now Greg Thompson with it. Backs it out to Etherington. Deflected partially by O'Hara, but still controlled by Bain. Here's Thompson wide open. Save made by Papaleo.
That's a great save. He just got his right hand out, but again, no one closed on Thompson, and realistically, no matter what your skills are, if you're that far open, you've got a great chance to score, and Pittsburgh can't let him walk in.
Here's Hagen. Dave is our goal getter for this quarter, is he not?
That's right.
We need a winner.
He scored, I think, in every televised game.
Hagen in the corner. Thompson, you see in on him. Dave brings it all the way back to Dave McKenzie at midfield with 5:10 left in the first half. 2-2 game here at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. An Easter Seal Sunday as well. 333-9315 the number. Mary Rob Jackson and Ron Klink will be with you again at the conclusion of the game and also at halftime. We'll be up to date on how we're doing in our Easter Seal effort on this Easter Sunday afternoon. Lettieri will come to the far corner to pick it up. Terlecki marks him. Now it's Ben Collins to Yusian. Dembovic against McKenzie in the far corner. McKenzie wins the ball. Drago wanted the call, didn't get it. Terlecki, double team. And loses. Dembovik with Usian and also McGrain. Now picking it up, it's Collins. Again, Collins dribbles it in. Terlecki comes in from behind to help out. And Collins will have to retreat. Here's Dembovik right outside the circle, working his way in. Drago turns. McKenzie will work against him. Lodevegas loses the ball, goes down, a foul is called. Foul is against Pittsburgh.
If Pittsburgh gives up a goal here, you've got to go back to the earlier play. Stan had two guys wide open, and he chose instead to try and dribble. There's the foul on Erhard Kapp.
Good save by Papaleo as they got off a quick shot off the foot of Ray Hudson. Hudson scored the first Minnesota goal. Here's Terlecki with a chance. His drive is up and out of play. Stan working hard against John McGrain, but the shot was too high.
Yeah, Stan had a fine game yesterday. He had a couple of assists. He can beat a couple of players many times, but there are other times where he cannot. And in that last situation, he had two players on him. If he loses the ball, it could be an easy score for Minnesota. Erhard Kapp was wide open. When a player is that far open, Stan's got to hit him and then break and run into open space, force somebody to pick him up, and Erhard had a lot of room up that right side.
Dwight Lodevegas, native of Canada, brings the ball up slowly. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first half. Now it's Hudson. Brings it back to Fogarty. Intercepted by Pittsburgh. Hagen takes over to Liverich. Paul Child is on now. Into the corner. Fogarty against Topolsky. Just knocked away in front. Settled down nicely by Alan Willie. Talk about size. Alan Willie, 5'11", 163. Hudson 6 feet even. McGrain is only 5'9". Lodevegas is 6'1". He's big also. Here's Bain. Looking for Goosens. O'Hara will get there first. And Johnny O brings it back. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the first half. We're tied at 2 here at the Met Center in Bloomington. Another critical MISL game. It's the only one on the schedule today, so everybody will be watching to see what happens here. Topolsky with a good run. Shot is knocked down in front, deflected by Bruce Miller. Miller got the block. O'Hara picks up the ball. We'll leave it for Liverich. Mark works his way in. Give and go with Hagen. Off the boards. Liverich couldn't pull it off. He goes up and out of play one more time. 2-2 is the score with 2:12 to play in the first half.
Here's a set piece coming up. There you look at Paul Child, who has scored many a big goal for the Pittsburgh Spirit in the years that he's worn that uniform. Provides a lot of leadership for this team, and seems like he's a perennial choice to be the most inspirational player with this team. There's a look of concern. I'm sure John Kowalski knows it's do or die this last few games, that it's up to the Spirit. And even it's up to Kansas City as well. Pittsburgh cannot even control their own destiny. They can do their best, but they've got to hope Kansas City will lose some games.
McKenzie, the drive by Kapp is up over the glass once again. You know, you have games where the ball seems to go out constantly. Some games it never goes out. It's been bouncing out of play all afternoon. A quick look at Coach Alan Merrick. As we said, at one time wore the black and gold of the Pittsburgh Spirit. Hagen in the box. Dave with a chance, and misses as his shot comes across.
There go the groceries.
Bain on a break. Papaleo is there. Now Child. Mark Liverich. Another slow pass, and it's intercepted by Minnesota. The drive by Willie is off to the right side. Ball again loose in front. There's a goal. Score it to Greg Thompson. Too much room for Goosens, and it's 3-2 Minnesota.
And it came, John, off of a break. You mentioned before the bad pass, and that's exactly what happened. It gave Minnesota a numerical advantage. McKenzie does a nice job in going with all these fakes, and he got a piece of the ball, but wide open is Greg Thompson, and he scores to give Minnesota a 3-2 lead.
So Thompson picks up his 8th goal of the season. Goosens again in on the job. He gets his 21st assist. And on the scoreboard, read it, Strikers 3 and the Spirit 2. Thompson from Goosens at 12:27. make that 13-27 on the goal. 15-minute quarters, and the Spirit now down by a goal. They've been behind before this afternoon. Pittsburgh scored first. Here's a chance for Vossmeyer, but it's taken away from him by Collins. Nice tackle by Collins. Thompson Usean now. Terlecki marks him. Usean goes down. Nothing called.
It's a good recovery for Stan coming back.
And we have exactly 1 minute left in the first half. Ostauchik for Topolsky. Lettieri comes up with it and quickly distributes to Usean. McGrain in the corner uses the board. Dombovic trying to follow, can't control. Usean picks it up. Ostauchik will mark him. Dombovic to Usean. Drive by Hudson, knocked away by Vossmeyer. Dombovic takes over with 29 seconds left in the period. There's a shot, save Papaleo. Hudson now with another chance. That's knocked away by Vossmeyer. Still to play and the Spirit in. Cannot clear it out of there. Usean, finally Papaleo takes over. Only 15 seconds left in the first half. It's 3-2 Minnesota leading. Terlecki with what may be the last chance of this half. Stan takes it in, shoots, just missed. Lettieri got just a piece of it, able to deflect it away from the goal. And as the horn sounds, another save by Lettieri. That'll do it. We have played the first 30 minutes here at the Met Center. It is the Strikers 3, the Spirit 2. You're watching Pittsburgh Spirit Soccer.